They say the ocean remembers everything, that beneath its silence, it keeps the echoes of forgotten cities, the bones of ancient empires, and whispers of a world not found on any modern map. But what if one of those whispers is true? There is a place in the Atlantic Ocean where the sea floor suddenly rises in strange geometric patterns. Sonar scans show what appear to be massive, symmetrical formations, roads, even rings. Scientists say it's just natural rock, but some explorers aren't so sure. Now imagine this. You're in a small submersible, hundreds of meters beneath the surface, drifting over the ocean floor. Your lights catch something stone, but not scattered, not chaotic. Aligned. Built. Almost as if you're flying above the ruins of a once great city swallowed whole. No coral growths, no fish weaving through wreckage, just silence and symmetry. Could this be Atlantis? For thousands of years, people have asked the same question. Plato was the first to speak its name. He described a mighty empire that existed over 9,000 years before his time, one that possessed advanced knowledge, divine bloodlines, and technology far beyond the world around it. Then, in a single cataclysm, it vanished into the sea. Gone, erased. Most scholars have written it off as a myth, a political allegory, a symbolic warning about hubris. But what if it wasn't? What if Atlantis was real? What if Plato was passing down an echo of a truth older than history itself, one kept alive in whispers, in symbols, in ruins, half buried under sand and sea? In the last few decades, something strange has started to happen. Across the globe, from the Caribbean to the Mediterranean, from the Azores to the Antarctic, shelf divers and satellite teams are finding anomalies. Massive structures that shouldn't be there. Perfectly circular arrangements buried in the seabed. Stone roads that stretch for miles under the ocean, leading ... nowhere. And recently, off the coast of Spain, a joint expedition stumbled upon something even stranger. Just beyond the Strait of Gibraltar, what ancient sailors once called the Pillars of Hercules, ground-penetrating radar revealed a massive complex buried beneath the mudflats of Donana National Park. The shapes matched Plato's description. Concentric rings of water and land, a central temple, a sprawling plain. The researchers didn't claim it was Atlantis, but they didn't say it wasn't either. And here's where it gets even more curious. Ancient Egyptian texts, some long ignored or mistranslated, mention a civilization called Amenhotep, the first time of man, a golden age wiped out by floods. The priests told Solon, the Athenian lawgiver, that this story was far older than Greece itself. It was history, not legend. Solon passed that tale to his nephew. His nephew passed it to Plato. And the rest became myth. But here's the twist no one talks about. When Plato described Atlantis, he wasn't just telling a fable. He gave details, exact measurements of the city's layout, the width of its canals, the material of its walls, red, black, and white stone, described the harbor, the temples, the rules of their society. He even said Atlantis had engineered irrigation systems so advanced they could farm year-round. That kind of detail isn't normal for myth. It's architectural, it's geographic, feels remembered. And then there's the timing. Plato dated Atlantis' destruction to around 9,600 BCE. Coincidence or not, that's the same era modern science now marks as the end of the Younger Dryas. A mysterious period of sudden climate chaos. Glaciers melted, sea levels surged. Massive floods carved canyons overnight, entire landscapes disappeared. It's not a stretch to think that if an advanced coastal civilization had existed before that moment, it would have been swallowed, leaving only fragments, hints, shadows. Like the Bimini Road near the Bahamas, discovered in 1968. It's a series of massive limestone blocks submerged in crystal clear water lined too neatly to be natural, according to some geologists. Mainstream science still debates it, but for those who've seen it in person, it feels like a road, a ceremonial path, the top of something far larger, still hidden beneath the sand. And then there's the Yonaguni Monument in Japan. Not in the Atlantic, no, but still strange. Underwater staircases, right angles, carvings. Could it be another piece of the same forgotten world, a global culture scattered by time? It's a pattern we keep seeing. Sunken cities off the coast of India. Pyramidal shapes off the coast of Cuba. Entire street grids found beneath the ice in Antarctica. Too regular to ignore. Too consistent to dismiss. Could they all be fragments of one mother civilization? One that existed before history began? If Atlantis was real, it wouldn't have looked like a fantasy. It wouldn't have been made of crystals and floating machines. It might have been advanced, yes, but in ways that feel strangely familiar. Cities aligned to stars. Architecture shaped by sound and stone. Society obsessed with balance, geometry, and spiritual knowledge. But what happened to it? What could wipe a whole civilization off the face of the earth without leaving a single unbroken scroll behind? Some say earthquakes, others floods. Some even whisper of celestial events, solar flares, a planetary shift. But the deeper we dive into ocean trenches, into forgotten texts, into forbidden questions, the clearer one thing becomes. Atlantis may not just be a legend. It may be a memory. And the ocean may still be keeping its secrets, but the deeper you go, the more it starts to whisper. And one whisper in particular has caught the world's attention. Not in the Atlantic, not in the Caribbean, but in a place no one thought to look. Let's go there next. It began with a drone, scanning the ocean floor off the coast of Mauritania, desolate, wind-scoured region of West Africa that faces the vast emptiness of the Atlantic. On satellite images, it appears like a forgotten fingerprint pressed into the earth itself. Spiraling ridges of rock, perfectly circular, perfectly strange. Locals call it the Eye of the Sahara. Scientists name it the Richet structure. From space, it doesn't look like a natural formation. It looks like a city, drowned in time. 3 concentric rings of land, separated by water, just as Plato described. The measurements? Nearly identical to the ones he wrote down thousands of years ago. A central island, surrounded by rings, wide enough to house a metropolis, roads that could lead to canals. The remains of a forgotten port, once kissed by the Atlantic until the desert swallowed the sea. Could it be? Could the Eye of the Sahara be the fossil of Atlantis? Geologists insist it's natural, formed by erosion, wind, and pressure from beneath the crust. But even they admit it's unusual, symmetrical, eerily so. And then there's the detail no one can quite explain. When explorers examined the surrounding area, they found something odd. Marine fossils. Shells, coral, even fish bones, scattered across a landscape now buried beneath sand dunes and searing sun, landlocked desert. With an ocean's memory, could the Sahara long ago have been fertile ground? Could it have cradled rivers, forests, even cities? In fact, satellite data shows ancient riverbeds threading beneath the Sahara-like veins under skin proof that it once flourished with life, and not just animal life. In 2021, archaeologists unearthed tools, axes, chisels, pottery fragments dating back tens of thousands of years. Human hands once shaped this place, and then something changed. A shift in the Earth's axis, a megaflood, a series of volcanic eruptions. No one knows for sure. But what's clear is this: a thriving world was buried here, and it fits the profile of a forgotten Atlantis. Not beneath the ocean, but beneath time. Still, this is only one possibility. Some researchers point elsewhere toward the Caribbean, where sonar images off the coast of Cuba show a vast grid of massive stone blocks, deep underwater. The diver who first captured the footage described it as a cityscape: wide avenues, flat plazas, tower-like shapes. But it lies far too deep to have been submerged by modern sea rise. If it's real, it sank over 10,000 years ago, long before we told any civilization had the means to build anything so grand. Which raises the question: were there civilizations before the ones we know? Before Samaria, Egypt, and Mesopotamia? Mainstream history tells us no, but the Earth tells another story. In Turkey, the site of Göbekli Tepe shattered everything we thought we knew. Massive stone pillars carved with animals and cosmic symbols, arranged in circles like a prehistoric cathedral. Dated to 9600 BCE, the exact date Plato gave for Atlantis' fall. Yet this site wasn't built by hunter-gatherers with stone hammers. The carvings are precise, the alignment astronomical. It took planning, mathematics, memory. So who built it? Why did they bury it on purpose? Some scholars suggest it was to preserve knowledge because the world had already collapsed once, because something had already been lost. Maybe Atlantis wasn't a single city, but the echo of a lost global culture, a network of ancient societies sharing symbols, sacred geometry, and sky-lined architecture. One that stretched across oceans long before our modern maps were drawn. And maybe, just maybe, their knowledge wasn't entirely lost. Across ancient texts and oral traditions, there are striking patterns. Flood myths from nearly every continent. Stories of a great civilization destroyed by divine wrath or natural disaster, a recurring theme. Gods or star beings teaching humanity architecture, agriculture, astronomy, then vanishing. The Maya had Kukulkan, the Egyptians had Thoth, the Sumerians had Enki. The Dogon of Mali speak of amphibious beings who came from Sirius and taught them the structure of the stars. Modern science only confirms centuries later. What if these weren't gods, but survivors? Fragments of a forgotten race, passing down what they could before the tides erased their homes. It sounds fantastical, but every year, we find new ruins that push the timeline of civilization further and further back. And then there's the matter of maps. In 1513, a Turkish admiral named Piri Reis compiled a map using ancient source materials. One section shows Antarctica, but not as it looks today. It shows the continent without its ice cap, with a coastline that matches modern seismic scans. Scientists didn't even know what lay beneath Antarctica's ice until the 20th century. How did Piri Reis have access to that data? And who drew the original charts he copied from? We are taught that the age of discovery began in the 1400s. But what if that age was really a rediscovery of lands known long ago, by civilizations erased from our records, and Atlantis might have been their crown jewel? Not just a city, but a beacon. A node in a forgotten global network connected by sacred sites, star paths, and underground tunnels. A place where knowledge and nature were one. Where crystal and sound were tools, not myths. Where memory was etched in stone, not paper. If such a place truly existed, even fragments of it would change everything. And we may have already found those fragments. But one more mystery remains, one so strange, it bends the line between myth and science. A location deep in the Atlantic where compasses go mad. Strange lights are seen beneath the waves, and sonar refuses to map the terrain. A place sailors have feared for centuries, and some say it's where Atlantis still sleeps. Let's go there next. The ocean is a realm of mystery. Its depths are places where light fades, and the rules of our world begin to blur. And if there's one stretch of sea that stirs the imagination more than any other, it's the Bermuda Triangle, the notorious fog-shrouded stretch between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. For centuries, sailors have told tales of compasses spinning wild, ships vanishing without a trace, and eerie lights flickering beneath the waves like the ghosts of lost cities. Could it be just coincidence? Or is there something beneath the ocean's surface, something waiting quietly in the dark? In recent years, advances in deep-sea exploration have peeled back layers of oceanic secrets. Sophisticated sonar mapping has revealed anomalies here that defy simple explanations. Underwater structures that appear deliberately shaped, strange magnetic fields that disrupt instruments, and unusual seismic activity that could explain some disappearances. Some researchers suggest these are the remnants of Atlantis itself. One expedition found an underwater plateau rising sharply from the abyss, a vast structure that looks, at first glance, man-made. Walls, terraces, and what may be the remains of temples and amphitheaters stretch beneath the waves. Covered in coral, but still distinct. The mystery deepens with reports from fishermen and divers who claim to have seen flickering lights and movements in the deep shapes that resemble any known sea creature, glowing like bioluminescent spirits. Skeptics argue it's natural bioluminescence or optical illusions, but the sheer consistency of these reports across decades is hard to ignore. And there's another curious fact. Atlantis, as described by Plato, was not just a city, but a continent. A vast landmass that sunk beneath the ocean in a single day and night of catastrophe. Geological studies confirm that sudden shifts in massive underwater landslides can and do happen, shaping coastlines and swallowing islands whole. Take the case of the Canary Islands, for example. These volcanic isles, sitting on a large underwater plateau off the northwest coast of Africa, have a hidden secret beneath their waters. Recent sonar studies reveal submerged ruins around Tenerife and Gran Canaria, including structures resembling pyramids and stepped terraces. Could these be relics of the same culture that once thrived in the Atlantic? If so, their disappearance may have been triggered by a colossal tsunami or earthquake, a single cataclysm echoing through millennia. The question that haunts all of this is not just if Atlantis was real, but what it means for us. If such a civilization existed advanced in ways we are only beginning to glimpse, it changes the story of human history. It suggests that knowledge, technology, and wisdom were lost, not through failure or ignorance, but through catastrophe. That history is not linear but cyclical, and what we know may be only a fraction of what has been. It invites us to rethink the boundaries between myth and reality, to ask how much of our past is hidden beneath layers of sediment and silence. And it challenges us to look deeper into the oceans, into our ancient texts, and into ourselves. Because the story of Atlantis isn't just about a lost city. It's about the fragility of memory, the impermanence of civilization, the mysterious dance between nature's fury and human ambition, and it's about hope. Hope that what was lost can be found. Hope that by listening to the ocean's whispers, we can uncover secrets buried not just beneath waves, but beneath time itself. So what do you think? Could the mysteries of Atlantis be closer than we imagine? Could those sunken stones and fading myths hold keys to understanding who we are and where we might be going? The ocean keeps its secrets well, but every now and then it lets one slip through. If you've ever dreamed of exploring lost worlds or diving into the depths of ancient mysteries, you're not alone. The beauty of questions like these is that they remind us the unknown is vast, but so is our curiosity. Leave a comment below. What's your theory? Have you ever felt drawn to a place that seems more than it appears? Do you believe Atlantis was real, or a beautiful story we tell to remind ourselves of what might be possible? If this journey stirred your imagination, make sure to like and subscribe. There are countless secrets waiting beneath the waves and beyond the horizon, and we'll explore them together. Until next time, remember this. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, but to be lived. Because in the space between myth and reality, we find wonder. And in wonder, we find ourselves.